Greetings comic lovers and welcome back to Casually Comics, the channel where we chat all things comics, from reviews of comics new and old, to history, to anecdotes, to really wherever our whims take us. I don't know why my voice sounds so rough. I guess I'm getting ready to do some Hulk voice acting. The Hulk! Well, the Immortal Hulk. The Hulk comic that took the world by storm back when it started in 2018. With an emphasis on horror and a seeming return to the Hulk as a hunted wanderer with a newish look at the Hulk psyche, and some supernatural elements. And now we're spinning off. Meaning, at the time of this recording, in 2020 leading into 2021, the Hulk is getting a series of one-shots. Immortal Hulk one-shots. Different artists and authors taking on this canon of the Hulk. Some little light short story fodder. I often get asked about the Immortal Hulk, and I will say that the first issue has some of my favorite panels at the end out of any Hulk comic. I'm not a bad person, am I? What do you think? If you're a fan of the monstrous looking Hulk, which I definitely am, I like my Hulk to provide nightmare fuel, then this series is worth checking out from that aspect alone. There's a lot that can be said about the Immortal Hulk, but that is for another time. Today we're looking at the one-shot, The Immortal Hulk, The Threshing Place. Two thes in the title. It's a good start. This one is by Jeff Lemire with art by Mike Del Mundo. If Lemire's name sounds familiar, it's because we've done a bunch of his work on this channel already, such as the start of his Moon Knight run and part of his Killer Smile Black Label Elseworld work. Are you ready to smash, which can mean different things depending upon what area you're from slang-wise? Well, get excited. But before we get started, I'm Sasha, and if you're enjoying this content, you know what to do. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Join us on this comic book journey. Okay, so threshing place or a threshing floor. Let us examine. This is an agricultural term and an old one at that. It refers to the area where one separates grain. In fact, the first word, threshing, used to mean stomping or tramping hard with your feet. They're referenced in religious texts of the Abrahamic religions, because, well, it's that old of a concept. You'll get why I'm telling you this after we look at the cover. On the cover, we have the Hulk with his head looking extra radioactive today, perfectly centered, holding up what at first glance appears to be some kind of flower, but upon closer examination is a hair clip. He's set against a farm background. Huzzah! An appropriate setting for a threshing place. He's also blood splattered, but because of the lighting, the blood is a bit pinkish, so in my head it looks like he just killed a bunch of Klingons. The very top has an in memoriam tribute to Chadwick Boseman, R.I.P. As far as covers go, it's fine, but not the most attention-grabbing Hulk cover I've ever seen. If you're not a Hulk person or not given to being taken in by Hulk imagery, it may be the kind of cover you just pass by if you were just picking stuff up based on its cover, which you're not supposed to do, but most of us are guilty of it at one time or another. So the first page has a quote on it. Why? Because Al Ewing started his first issue of the Hulk back in 2018, the Immortal Hulk that is, with a quote. And since then, it's been ongoing, issue to issue. So we have one here, a biblical quote as well, to make it feel extra grand. I'll read it so you can decide once we're done this at the end if it added anything to the proceedings. The threshing places will be full of grain. The pits beside the presses will overflow with wine and olive oil. I will give you back what you lost in the years when swarms of locusts ate your crops. Here is the thing with quotes. They can be inspiring and poignant, adding an extra layer of meaning to the text that you are regarding. Just a whole added dimension of resonance. Or they can be pretentious and add the illusion of depth where there may not necessarily be any. Sometimes they don't even match or are just there themselves, like, here you go, quote. However, because of the automatic veneer of intellectualism they can conjure, you can find yourself and others twisting yourself into knots trying to figure out just what the quote has to do with what you're reading or watching or entertaining yourself with in some way. Because it must mean something. What kind of madman would just throw a quote there? People do it. I've seen it done. Decide how you feel about the quotes that you read. Don't let other people decide how you should feel. If you feel it adds something or doesn't add something, you live that truth. Now on to the threshing place. I'm excited for my wine and olive oil. Yes, I'm being overly pedantic and literal for the lulz. Let's set the stage. Baby, we can talk all night, but that ain't getting us nowhere. Wide open. The sky goes on forever. No wall, no boundaries. Despite the openness on the horizon, Bruce Banner feels ill at ease. As ill at ease as I feel seeing him without purple pants. He senses that there's something wrong. There's something drawing him to this small rural community where a girl has gone missing. I'm not the only one who's been drawn here. It's not Gamma that's calling them though. It's clickbait. Hark! Do my ears hear shade being thrown at clickbait? Hark, the herald angel sings. Vis-a-vis the drawn to Gamma thing, Bruce has been able to feel the pull of Gamma and has a strong connection to the Green Door. This began in the Immortal Hulk series, the Green Door being a metaphysical barrier between the multiverse and the below place, which Gamma mutates pass through when they die. Being in a position where he can't really die has caused Banner to have a special connection to this place. There is now a supernatural element to the Gamma mutates out there in the Marvel Universe and multiverse, in that the one below all, the evil deity trapped in the below place, can influence control over gamma radiation, creating mutates for itself to potentially possess. Your mileage will vary on how you feel about this retcon, or addition rather. 3 days ago, 9-year-old Rebecca Green, yes Green, was playing out behind her house. When her dad called her in for dinner, she never came. However, the girl's father and a neighbor found something else instead, a half-mutilated body. Yes, half of it, the other half's just gone, and one of them swears that they saw a monster. Now if there's one thing Banner knows, it's that monsters are definitely real. So he's wandering around following the essence of Gamma when he stumbles upon a big collection of it in a field of crops, because of course, it's in the air, like pollen. And not just the air, it's in the ground too. As he explores, he finds the girl's hair clip outside an experimental facility meant to be testing pesticides, but he's not so sure. Of course, wandering around the area where a girl went missing as a stranger is not a good look, especially not when you're on the property where she went missing. So he gets caught by the girl's father, who is not buying the story that he is trying to spin. The "I'm just here to help" story. I think something bad came from that place. Something that took your daughter. However, he loses all cred when her father sees the hair clip in his hand. The cops show up before the father can do any serious damage to Banner / cause him to Hulk out, and so Bruce finds himself getting arrested. And then he's the victim of police brutality, which also doesn't cause the Hulk to come out. He gets knocked out to awaken to a cop stereotype, only he's eating popcorn instead of donuts. We're updating it. Is popcorn the new donuts? Low-fat popcorn too. I did not know that was a thing. Banner tries to tell him to let him out, says that he has no choice, and if he doesn't let him out, then he is going to come out, and he is going to look for her. Listen to me, the monster those farmers saw, it is real. It took that little girl. I'm telling you this because I know, and unless you let me out of here, you're going to know too. What are you? Run. What was a good speech, and the shading of his eye changing color is top notch, has been ruined for me by the Run meme, made out of the segment of the song Run by AWOL Nation. So that's all I'm thinking about right now. Run. Look it up for a decent time. I promise you neither highs nor lows. I don't know what you like. We are then treated to a great panel of Banner's monstrous transformation. The Immortal Hulk really plays up that his metamorphosis is truly frightening to witness, and this panel is a cool example of that.
Don't say he didn't warn you.
The Hulk questions his jailer and of course slides in some insults at Banner, as you do. And then he squeezes him so hard that his head explodes. This is when he says he doesn't know anything, because Banner has a pretty strong hunch that the cops are in on whatever is going on at that facility. The popcorn cleverly flies up, doubling as the pop sound effect and blocking out the gore. Gotta keep our rating down. That popcorn was 2 weeks away from retirement. The Hulk bursts out, having heard a siren, and learns there are government experiments going on at that facility he discovered. He then crushes the cop he gets the information from. Just steps right on him like, so the Hulk sure is just killing people. I mean, the Hulk should have a high body count just in terms of collateral damage alone, but there's something about this callous, casual killing of people that I don't know. I find it a bit disconcerting, but that's just me. I know that in the Immortal Hulk there are like multiple versions of the Hulk, which again is not a new concept. So you may feel that this is 100% accurate to the type of Hulk we're dealing with here. Let me know how you feel about it down below though, I'm curious. We get some beautiful panels of the Hulk walking outside in the moonlight when he is set upon by the monster. But the Hulk doesn't kill this monster because he's realized something about it. So he absorbs the gamma radiation from the creature into himself, revealing that the monster was the girl, mutated by gamma.
You didn't do anything wrong. You're a good girl. A good girl. I got you.
I always like panels that remind you just how huge in scale the Hulk is. The girl's father comes over because of course this is also on his property, which now makes sense because the girl is hanging around because it's her home. And after the Hulk passes her over, he decides it's time to be edgy.
I'm going to smash some shit.
There's a hilarious contrast to the Hulk popping people's heads like popcorn and then a line like this that reads like a teen swearing for the first time. It doesn't come off quite as cool as it was potentially intended to, especially not when it's censored with all those symbols. Ooh, such edge. And so the mystery is solved as the Hulk bursts into the underground lab where scientists were using some light gamma radiation to genetically modify crops. The Hulk gives them a speech about how he knows that they thought they were doing good, trying to end world hunger or something, but they were wrong. And as the one scientist screams that he has a family, the Hulk squeezes him so that he explodes like a tube of toothpaste in his suit. And we do get a subtle panel showing the little girl's hair clip next to a water bowl, which implies that they were using her to experiment upon.
Say goodbye. There is no going back.
There is no normal now. The girl isn't saved. She is doomed. Damned. Bruce returns to the farm and tells the father to pack up, to run, to take what they can and just get out, that the government will never stop hunting them. Is that what it's like for you? Me? No. At least she'll have you. There is a door. Once you walk through that door, once you see evil, you can never unsee it. The most we can hope for is that when it's time to face it, you don't have to go through that door alone. Of course, all that depends on if you still believe in hope at all. The end! Yay! You depressed yet? This is a very classic style Hulk story. It's reminiscent of the early days of the Hulk or the TV show, but with an extra dash of bleak loneliness and despair. The art works very well with this tale, especially the way the landscapes and backgrounds are done. It all feels barren and eerie. The story itself, however, is pretty basic, and it sets up some cookie cutter bad guys for the Hulk to smash, or kill, without you feeling bad about it, allegedly. It's how you can get away with showing your heroic protagonist be very brutal. What did this story have to do with the opening quote? Not as much as it probably thinks that it does. Although I'm sure some of you will be like, how dare you? That was the height of depth. Let me pontificate upon how much depth it added. Which, please do. I love reading theories and connections and analyses. For me, it didn't do enough to make it feel like it was necessary, but that's just my opinion. For you, was it a marriage of story and conceptual metaphor? Or did it feel like an out of context Bible quote? There because Threshing plays. There are going to be more of these one-shots, which are, in my opinion, a good idea. This is a concept I've always been fond of. This isn't the first time that it's been played with. You had an entire Batman series back in the day, Legends of the Dark Knight, which was just independent stories taking place within a certain time period but outside of the main canon. I'm here for that. Solo stories in a particular canon but that are taking place outside of it. So if you like that canon, you can get an extra story, regardless of what is happening over in the main continuity. And if you're a newbie, you have a nice jumping on point to get you familiar with the character and a particular canon as a base. This isn't the most amazing Hulk story ever told, but it is a good one. And it's done well. Perhaps not a must-have if you've been a Hulk fan for a long time, or perhaps it may feel like a nice return to a nostalgic form of the Hulk. And yes, I will now have a random quote every time we talk about the Immortal Hulk, because that is low-hanging fruit, and I will pick it. What did you think of this story? Share your thoughts down below. While you're down there, please do all of the YouTube things. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so that you never miss a vid. Thanks so much for taking some time of your day to spend it discussing comics with me. I always appreciate it, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.